Admiral Tejo stood alone in his private office aboard the warship Eternal Dawn. The room was dark, except for the blue glow of his personal terminal. His hands were shaking as he read the message again and again. He had read it 20 times already, but his mind refused to accept what his eyes were seeing. The message came from a spy. A human spy who had worked inside the Galactic Council headquarters for 15 years. The spy's name was Bo-Ra, and she had risked everything to send this information to Earth. The Galactic Council had betrayed humanity. Tejo sat down heavily in his chair. He was 62 years old. He had served in Earth's United Fleet for 40 years. He had fought pirates, defended colonies, and shaken hands with alien ambassadors. He had always believed that the Council was fair. He had always believed that the galaxy worked on trust and cooperation. He had been a fool. The documents in front of him told a terrible story. 6 months ago, the Galactic Council had made a secret deal with the Vorax Dominion. The Vorax were a violent species from the outer rim of the galaxy. They conquered worlds and enslaved populations. They were feared by everyone, and the Council had sold them Earth's exact coordinates. The deal was simple. The Vorax would attack Earth and destroy humanity. In exchange, the Council would give them free passage through protected space. After humanity was gone, the Council members would divide Earth's resources among themselves. Earth's water, minerals, and technology would be split between the 5 ruling species of the Council. Tejo felt sick. Humanity had joined the Galactic Council 150 years ago. They had followed every rule. They had paid every tax. They had sent soldiers to fight in Council wars. They had shared their technology freely, and this was how the Council repaid them. The Admiral stood up and walked to the window. Outside, he could see the stars stretching endlessly into the darkness. Somewhere out there, the Vorax fleet was already moving toward Earth. According to Bo-Ra's message, they would arrive in 3 weeks. 3 weeks to save humanity. Tejo picked up his communicator and spoke one name. Hana. Fleet Commander Hana was the highest-ranking military officer in Earth's entire defense force. She was 55 years old, with gray hair cut short and eyes that missed nothing. When her communicator buzzed with Tejo's call, she was reviewing patrol reports in her office on Earth's moon base. "Admiral," she answered, "it's late. What's wrong?" "Come to the Eternal Dawn immediately," Tejo said. "Tell no one where you're going." "This is beyond classified." Hana arrived 2 hours later. She found Tejo still standing at the window, staring at the stars. Without a word, he handed her his tablet with Bo-Ra's message displayed on the screen. Hana read in silence. Her face did not change as she absorbed the information. When she finished, she set the tablet down carefully on the desk. "How reliable is this source?" she asked. "Bo-Ra has never been wrong," Tejo replied. 15 years of perfect intelligence. "She's risking execution to warn us." Hana nodded slowly. "So, the Council wants us dead. They want our planet. And they hired the Vorax to do their dirty work. That's the situation." 3 weeks, Hana said quietly. "The Vorax fleet is massive. They have over 2,000 warships. Our entire defense force has 300. Tejo turned to face her. There was something in his eyes that Hana had never seen before. It was not fear. It was cold, burning anger. "Hana," he said, "do you remember Project Echo?" Hana's eyes widened. Project Echo was humanity's darkest secret. It had been created 50 years ago, right after humanity joined the Council. The project was born from a simple question. What if the galaxy turned against us? The Council believed that humanity was weak. They saw humans as newcomers, young and harmless. They had no idea that humanity had been preparing for betrayal since the very first day. Project Echo was a hidden network of weapons, ships, and soldiers spread across the galaxy. Secret bases built inside asteroids. Warships disguised as cargo freighters. Sleeper agents on every Council world. Weapons that could strike any target anywhere in seconds. The Council thought they knew humanity's strength. They were very, very wrong. "Echo Protocol," Hana whispered. "You want to activate it." "I want to do more than activate it," Tejo said. "I want to use it. The Council thinks they can destroy us quietly." They think the Vorax will do their killing while they keep their hands clean. I say we show them what happens when you betray humanity. Thus. Hana was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was steady. The Council has ruled the galaxy for 8,000 years. They have fleets beyond counting, resources beyond measure. If we strike them, we declare war on the entire galactic order. They already declared war on us, Tejo replied. They just forgot to tell us. Now we answer. Hana looked at the stars through the window. She thought about Earth. She thought about the billions of people living their ordinary lives, unaware that their government had sentenced them to death. She thought about her daughter, her grandchildren, her friends. She thought about what the Vorax would do to them. What's your plan? She asked. Tejo smiled grimly. The Council expects us to die quietly. They expect us to beg for help that will never come. Instead, we strike first. We hit every Council military installation at the same time. We cripple their fleets before they even know we're fighting. And then we deal with the Vorax ourselves. That's thousands of targets across the galaxy. Echo Protocol can hit them all within 6 hours. Hana took a deep breath. She was about to authorize the largest military operation in human history. She was about to start a war that would change the galaxy forever. Do it, she said. Activate Echo Protocol. May the stars forgive us for what we're about to do. Tejo nodded and reached for his terminal. Across the galaxy, hidden systems began to wake up. Secret bases powered on their weapons. Disguised warships revealed their true forms. Sleeper agents received their orders. Humanity had been betrayed. Now humanity would answer, and the galaxy would never be the same. On the Galactic Council Central Station, the 5 ruling ambassadors gathered in their grand chamber. The room was enormous, with ceilings that reached toward artificial stars. Golden pillars lined the walls, and holographic displays showed maps of the galaxy. Ambassador Vethkor of the Drellani people sat at the head of the table. His blue skin shimmered under the lights as he raised a glass filled with expensive wine. His 4 eyes blinked with satisfaction. To our success, he said. The Vorax fleet launched yesterday. In 3 weeks, the human problem will be solved forever. The other ambassadors raised their glasses. Ambassador Zinth of the Kalori laughed, her insect-like wings buzzing with pleasure. Ambassador Torvin of the Belkai nodded his massive head, tusks gleaming. Ambassador Shira of the Onathi smiled with her 3 mouths. Ambassador Kel of the Varathi simply watched in silence. The humans never suspected anything, Zinth said. They're so trusting. So naive. They actually believed we saw them as equals. Foolish creatures, Torvin agreed. They give away their technology freely. They help anyone who asks. They don't understand how the galaxy really works. Vethkor set down his glass. The humans were a mistake from the beginning. They breed too fast. They adapt too quickly. In another 1,000 years, they would have challenged our control. Better to end them now while they're still weak. And their planet? Shira added eagerly. Their water alone is worth more than 100 colony worlds. Their metals, their soil, their genetic diversity. We'll profit from this for generations. The ambassadors continued their celebration, completely unaware of what was happening across the galaxy. Far from the Council Station, in a region of space that appeared empty on all maps, Captain Dong Su guided his small ship through an asteroid field. His vessel was called the Silent Wind, and it looked like an ordinary cargo freighter. No one would ever guess that it carried some of the most advanced weapons humanity had ever built. Dong Su was 40 years old with a calm face that rarely showed emotion. He had served in secret operations for 15 years. He had never told his family what he really did. They thought he transported medical supplies to outer colonies. Today, his mission was simple but essential. The Council had placed surveillance satellites around every major system in the galaxy. These satellites watched everything. They tracked every ship, recorded every communication, and reported everything back to Council headquarters. If humanity was going to strike first, those satellites had to die. How many targets? Asked his second-in-command, A young woman named Unbi. 47 satellites in this sector alone, Dongsu replied. We take them all down at exactly the same moment as every other team. The council can't know they're blind until it's too late. Unbi checked her instruments. We're in position. All targets locked. Good. Now we wait. Across the galaxy, hundreds of similar teams waited in similar positions. Small ships, hiding in asteroid fields, moons, and debris clouds. Each one aimed at council surveillance systems, each one waiting for the same signal. Back on Earth's moon, Fleet Commander Hana watched a massive holographic display in the Echo Protocol Command Center. The room was buried deep underground, hidden from all sensors. Only 100 people in the entire human race knew this place existed. Status report, Hana ordered. Her chief operations officer, a man named Sung Ho, stepped forward. All strike teams are in position. We have confirmation from every sector. Weapons are armed and ready. What about the council? Any sign they suspect anything? None. They're celebrating right now. Our spy reports they're drinking expensive wine and congratulating themselves. Hana's jaw tightened. They're celebrating our death. Let them enjoy it while they can. She turned to another officer. What about civilian evacuations? Already in progress. We're moving people away from council embassies and known military targets. We're telling them it's a safety drill. Most of them believe it. And the Vorax fleet? Still on course. They'll reach Earth in 18 days now. They're moving faster than we expected. Hana nodded grimly. 18 days was not much time, but it would have to be enough. The plan was complex but clear. First, blind the council by destroying their surveillance network. Second, strike every council military installation before they could respond. Third, turn and face the Vorax, with humanity's full strength. It was a desperate plan. It relied on speed, surprise, and violence on a scale the galaxy had never seen. If anything went wrong, humanity would be caught between the council and the Vorax, with no allies and no hope, but doing nothing meant certain death. At least this way, they had a chance. The countdown begins in 1 hour, Hana announced. All systems to final readiness. There's no turning back after this. In another part of the command center, Admiral Teho stood before a communications screen. On the screen was Bora, the spy who had warned them. She was a small woman with tired eyes, hiding in a storage room on the council station. You need to get out of there, Teho said. When we strike, the council will tear that station apart, looking for traitors. I know, Bora replied. But I'm not leaving yet. There's one more thing I need to do. What thing? The council keeps records of every dirty deal they've ever made. Every betrayal, every secret assassination, every genocide they've covered up. Those records are in a secured database. I'm going to steal them. Teho's eyes widened. That information could destroy the council's reputation completely. Exactly. When the galaxy sees what the council has really been doing for 8,000 years, no one will mourn them. No one will try to restore them. The truth will burn them more than any weapon. Bora, if you get caught trying to access those records, they'll execute you on the spot. The spy smiled sadly. I've been ready to die for 15 years. At least this way. My death means something. Give the galaxy the truth. Teho, let them see what kind of monsters have been ruling them. The communication ended. Teho stood in silence for a long moment, honoring the courage of a woman he had never met in person. Back in space, Captain Dong-Su watched the timer on his console count down. 10 minutes remained. His crew was silent. Each person focused on their task. They all knew what they were about to do. They all understood that there was no going back. Captain, Unbi said quietly, do you think we're doing the right thing? Dong-Su considered the question carefully. The council sold us to killers. They smiled at our ambassadors while planning our extinction. They've probably done this to other species before, so yes, I think we're doing the right thing. I think we're doing what someone should have done 8,000 years ago. The timer continued to count down. 5 minutes. 4, 3. All across the galaxy, humans held their breath. In hidden bases, on disguised ships, in underground bunkers, millions of people waiting for the moment when everything would change. 2 minutes. 1, 0. Dong Su pressed the firing button. For Earth, he whispered. 47 satellites died in the same instant. Across the galaxy, thousands more followed. The Council's eyes went dark. The silent countdown was over. Now the real war could begin. Commander Yuna sat in the heart of Earth's hidden command center, surrounded by 100 holographic screens. Each screen showed a different target. Council shipyards, weapons, factories, fleet headquarters, supply depots. Thousands of targets spread across the entire galaxy, all marked in red. She was 38 years old, with sharp eyes and a mind that could process information faster than most computers. She had been chosen to coordinate the attack because she never panicked, never hesitated, and never made mistakes. Today, she would need all of those qualities. All surveillance satellites are down, reported a technician. The Council is completely blind. Confirmed, said another. No distress signals detected. They don't know what happened yet, Yuna nodded. Then we have approximately 2 hours before they realize something is wrong. We need to hit them in the first hour. She turned to face her team. 20 officers, each responsible for coordinating attacks in a different sector of the galaxy. They looked at her with steady eyes, ready to follow her orders into history. You all know the plan, Yuna said. Speed and precision. Every target must fall before the Council can organize a response. We only get one chance at this. Make it count. She raised her hand, then brought it down in a sharp motion. Execute. The galaxy erupted in fire. In the Drellani home system, 6 human warships emerged from hiding and opened fire on the Council's largest shipyard. The shipyard had been building warships for 2,000 years. It could produce 100 vessels at once. It was considered impossible to destroy. It burned in 30 minutes. The human ships used weapons the Council had never seen. Plasma cannons that could cut through any shield. Missiles that could change direction mid-flight and dodge defense systems. Beam weapons that moved at the speed of light. The shipyard's defenders never had a chance. When the attack was over, nothing remained but floating debris and cooling metal. In the Calori system, human soldiers boarded the Council's main weapons factory. The factory produced the advanced weapons that kept the Council in power. Without those weapons, the Council's military advantage would disappear. The human soldiers moved through the factory like ghosts. They wore armor that bent light around them, making them almost invisible. They carried rifles that made no sound. The factory guards died without ever seeing their killers. When the soldiers left, they triggered explosives that reduced the entire factory to dust. In the Belkai system, human missiles struck the Council's main fleet headquarters. 300 Council warships were docked there for routine maintenance. Their weapons were offline, their shields were down, their crews were relaxing. They all died in the first 5 minutes. The missiles came from nowhere, fired by ships that had been hiding in the system's asteroid belt for 10 years. The Council had never detected them. The Council had never suspected them. The Council had believed that humans were too simple, too peaceful, to prepare such a trap. The Council had been very, very wrong. Commander Yuna watched the reports flow in from across the galaxy. Target after target fell. Council installations that had stood for thousands of years were destroyed in minutes. The military power that had dominated the galaxy for 8 millennia was crumbling before her eyes. Sector 7 complete, an officer reported. All targets destroyed. Sector 12 complete. No survivors. Sector 20 complete. Minimal resistance. The speed of the attack was staggering. The Council had no time to react, no time to organize, no time to even understand what was happening. Their communication networks were destroyed. Their command centers were gone. Their fleets were scattered and leaderless. In less than 3 hours, humanity had crippled the most powerful military force in galactic history. On the Council station, Ambassador Veth Kor stood in the suddenly dark Grand Chamber. The power was flickering. Alarms were screaming. His advisors were running in circles, shouting about attacks and invasions. "What is happening?" he demanded. "Who is attacking us?" An aide rushed in, his blue skin pale with fear. "Ambassador, it's the humans. They're attacking everywhere. Our entire surveillance network is gone. Our shipyards are burning. Our fleets are being destroyed." "Impossible. The humans have only 300 ships. How can they attack everywhere at once?" "We don't know, Ambassador. But reports are coming in from every sector. The humans have weapons we've never seen. They have ships we didn't know existed. They have soldiers who appear from nowhere and kill without mercy." Vethkor felt his legs go weak. This was not possible. The humans were supposed to be weak. They were supposed to be peaceful. They were supposed to die quietly while the Council divided their planet. Instead, they were tearing the galaxy apart. "Contact the Vorax," Vethkor screamed. "Tell them to hurry. Tell them to destroy Earth immediately." "We're trying, Ambassador. But our long-range communications are down. We can't reach anyone outside this station." At that moment, the station shook violently. Explosions echoed through the corridors. The lights went completely dark, replaced by the red glow of emergency systems. "They're here," the aide whispered. "The humans are boarding the station." Far away in the command center, Commander Yuna received the final report. "Council station is secure. All ambassadors are in custody. Council military command has been completely eliminated." Yuna leaned back in her chair and closed her eyes for just a moment. They had done it. 6 hours of coordinated attacks across the entire galaxy. And they had succeeded. The Council's military power was broken, but the war was not over. "What about the Vorax?" she asked. "Still coming," an officer replied. "Their fleet is 15 days away from Earth, over 2,000 warships. And our losses? 47 ships destroyed, 823 soldiers killed, much lower than we expected." Yuna opened her eyes. 823 families had lost someone today. That number would grow much larger before the Vorax were dealt with. She stood up and addressed her team. "Phase 1 is complete. The Council is finished. But now we face a bigger threat. The Vorax are coming to destroy our home. They have more ships than we do, more soldiers, more weapons." She paused, looking at each officer in turn. "But we have something they don't. We have a reason to fight. We have families to protect. We have a future to defend. And we have already shown the galaxy what happens when someone threatens humanity." She pointed to the holographic map, where the Vorax fleet appeared as a moving red swarm. "In 15 days, those ships will reach Earth. When they arrive, we will be waiting, and we will show them the same welcome we showed the Council." The officers nodded grimly. The first battle was won, the second was coming, and humanity would be ready. In the ruins of the Council station, Ambassador Vethkor sat in a holding cell, surrounded by the other captured ambassadors. Human soldiers stood guard outside, their faces hidden behind dark helmets. "How did this happen?" Zinth whispered, her wings drooping. "How did they know?" No one answered. They all knew the truth. They had underestimated the humans. They had seen humanity's kindness as weakness, their cooperation as submission, their patience as fear. They had been catastrophically wrong, and now they would pay the price. The galaxy had never seen anything like it. In 6 hours, the Galactic Council had fallen. The rulers who had dominated civilization for 8,000 years were gone. Their fleets were destroyed. Their leaders were captured. Their power was broken, and everyone was watching. On 1,000 worlds, billions of beings stared at their screens in disbelief. News broadcasts showed the burning wreckage of Council shipyards. Images spread of human soldiers standing in the grand chamber where ambassadors once ruled. Videos played of Council fleets exploding in the darkness of space. The impossible had happened. The untouchable had been touched, and the species that had done it was one that nobody had taken seriously. Lieutenant J1 sat in Earth's diplomatic center, surrounded by communication screens that would not stop flashing. He was 32 years old, trained in languages and diplomacy. He had spent his career preparing for moments like this. He had not expected so many moments at once. "Lieutenant," called a technician. "We have incoming communication from the Ven-3 Confederation." "Put them through," J1 replied. A holographic image appeared before him. It showed a Ven-3 diplomat, a being that looked like a tall insect with gentle compound eyes. The Ven-3 were a peaceful species who had been bullied by the Council for centuries. "We have watched what you did," the Ven-3 said, its voice translator turning clicks into words. "We are amazed. We are impressed. We want to know your intentions," J1 spoke carefully. "Humanity did not want this war. The Council sold us to the Vorax. They planned our extinction. We defended ourselves. And what now? Will you become the new Council? Will you rule as they did? No, we have no desire to rule anyone. We want peace, cooperation, and fair treatment for all species. We want allies, not subjects." The Ven-3 was silent for a long moment. Then it made a sound that the translator identified as a sigh of relief. "For 300 years, the Council has taxed our people unfairly. They have taken our resources and given nothing back. If you are sincere about wanting allies, the Ven-3 would be honored to stand with humanity." J1 smiled. "We accept your friendship. Welcome to a new future." The communication ended, but another immediately took its place. This time it was the Mordaki, a species of small, furry beings who lived on cold worlds. After them came the Selvani, the Threx, the Omnari, and a dozen others. All of them had been oppressed by the Council. All of them had suffered under Council rule, and all of them wanted to join humanity's side. By the end of the day, J1 had received messages from over 40 species. Some wanted alliance, some wanted trade agreements, some just wanted to say thank you for ending the Council's tyranny. But not everyone was grateful. The Korathi were a proud species who had served the Council loyally for thousands of years. Their ambassador appeared on J1's screen with fury in his eyes. "You have destroyed order," the ambassador shouted. "You have brought chaos to the galaxy. The Council kept peace for 8 millennia. Who will maintain order now?" "No, the Council kept peace by crushing anyone who disagreed with them," J1 replied calmly. "They sold entire species to the Vorax. They committed genocide and called it stability. That is not order. That is tyranny. You will regret this. The Vorax are coming. Without the Council's protection, you will all die. The Council was not protecting us. They invited the Vorax to destroy us. And the Vorax will find that we are harder to kill than anyone expected." The Korathi ambassador disconnected in anger. J1 sighed and moved to the next communication. While J1 handled diplomacy, Admiral Tejo supervised the preparation of Earth's defenses. Human ships were gathering from across the galaxy, returning home to face the Vorax threat. 300 warships that the Council had known about, plus 200 more that had been hidden by the Echo Protocol. 500 warships against 2,000. The odds were terrible, but Tejo had more than ships. He had weapons that had never been tested in real combat. He had strategies that had been developed over 50 years. And he had something the Vorax would never understand. He had humanity's determination to survive. "Admiral," called Fleet Commander Hana, walking into the command center. "The spy's information has been released." "Bo-Ra's files?" Tejo asked. "All of them. Every dirty secret the Council ever kept. Every bribe they took. Every species they betrayed. Every genocide they covered up. It's spreading across every communication network in the galaxy." Tejo nodded slowly. Bo-Ra had escaped the Council station just hours before it fell. She had brought with her a storage device containing 8,000 years of Council crimes. Now those crimes were being revealed to everyone. "What's the reaction?" he asked. "Mixed. Some species are horrified. They had no idea what the Council was really doing. Others are angry because they were victims. And some are defending the Council, claiming the information is fake. Let them argue. The truth will win eventually. It always does." On a distant world called Kethrin, a young alien named Sorek watched the news with growing amazement. Sorek was a member of the Athrani species. A people who had been enslaved by the Council 500 years ago. His ancestors had fought for freedom and lost. Now his people lived as second-class citizens, forced to work in mines and factories for minimal pay. The released files showed everything. They showed how the Council had deliberately destroyed Ethrani cities to crush resistance. They showed how Council leaders had laughed at Ethrani's suffering. They showed that the Council had always seen the Ethrani as nothing more than slaves. Sorek felt tears running down his face. For 500 years, his people had wondered if they had done something wrong. They had wondered if they deserved their fate. Now, they knew the truth. They had been victims of monsters. And those monsters had finally been defeated. Sorek turned to his father, an old man with tired eyes. "The humans did this," Sorek said. "The humans freed us," Sorek said. "The humans freed us." His father shook his head slowly. "Not yet. We are still here, still working in the mines. Nothing has changed for us. But it will change. The humans are offering alliance. They're offering freedom. They're offering a chance to start over. And what do they want in return?" Sorek thought about the question. Every ruler the Ethrani had known wanted something. The Council wanted labor. Previous masters had wanted resources. No one had ever offered help without expecting something back. But the humans seemed different. Their broadcasts spoke of cooperation, not domination. Their diplomats spoke of partnership, not submission. Their actions matched their words. "I don't know what they want," Sorek admitted. "But I know what we have. We have nothing left to lose. Maybe it's time to take a chance." His father was silent for a long moment. Then, slowly, he nodded. "Contact the human embassy. Tell them the Ethrani want to talk." All across the galaxy, similar conversations were happening. Species who had suffered under the Council were reaching out to humanity. Species who had never been noticed were asking for recognition. Species who had given up hope were finding it again. The Council had ruled through fear and control. Now that fear was gone. And in its place, something new was growing. Lieutenant Jaewon worked through the night, speaking with species after species. By morning, humanity had 12 new allies who were willing to send ships to help fight the Vorax. By afternoon, that number had grown to 20. The galaxy was changing. The old order was dead. And humanity, the species that had been dismissed as harmless newcomers, was at the center of everything. The Vorax were still coming. The battle for Earth was still approaching. But humanity was no longer alone. And together, they would face whatever came next. The Vorax fleet entered Earth's solar system on a cold Tuesday morning. 2,000 warships spread across the darkness like a cloud of death. Their commander, a massive creature named Drethvor, stood on his flagship bridge and smiled with rows of sharp teeth. "The humans have been busy," he observed, watching his scanners. "They have gathered 500 ships. And they have friends. I count vessels from at least 20 species." His second-in-command shifted nervously. "Commander, perhaps we should reconsider. The Council no longer exists to pay us. There is no profit in this attack." "Profit?" Drethvor laughed. "The Council promised us safe passage and resources. But now there is something better. The humans have proven themselves worthy enemies. Defeating them will bring glory that lasts for generations." The Vorax fleet moved forward, confident in their numbers and their reputation. They had never lost a war. They had never met a species they could not crush. Today, that would change. Admiral Taeho stood on the bridge of the Eternal Dawn, watching the enemy approach. Around him, 500 human warships held formation. Mixed among them were ships from their new allies, Venthri carriers, Mordaki destroyers, Ethrani fighters, piloted by pilots who had never fought for anything but survival until now. "All ships report ready," Commander Hana announced. "The defense grid is active. The planetary shields are at full power." Taeho nodded slowly. This was the moment. Everything humanity had built, everything they had prepared, would be tested in the next few hours. "Open a channel to the Vorax flagship," he ordered. The communication screen flickered to life, showing Drethvor's terrifying face. The Vorax commander grinned when he saw Taeho. Human, Drethvor said, his voice deep and cruel. You have fought well so far. Destroying the council was impressive. But now, you face the Vorax, surrender your planet, and some of you may live as our slaves. Teho's expression did not change. Let me offer you a different deal. Turn your fleet around and leave. Never return to human space. Do this, and you can live. Drethvor laughed, a horrible sound like rocks grinding together. You threaten us? With 500 ships against 2,000? Human arrogance is amusing. Numbers are not everything. The council had numbers too. Look what happened to them. The laughter stopped. Drethvor's eyes narrowed. We are not the council. We are warriors. We have conquered 100 species. We will add humanity to that list. Then come and try, Teho said simply. We'll be waiting. The communication ended. Teho turned to his crew. Sound battle stations. This is what we prepared for. Let's show them what humanity can do. Teho, Teho. Teho, the battle began. Vorax ships surged forward, weapons blazing. Their strategy was simple and brutal. Overwhelm the enemy with superior numbers. Crush them with overwhelming firepower. It had worked against every opponent they had ever faced. It did not work against humanity. Earth's defense grid activated. Thousands of weapons platforms hidden throughout the solar system opened fire simultaneously. Missiles streaked through space. Energy beams cut across the darkness. The leading Vorax ships exploded before they could even return fire. But the Vorax kept coming. They were warriors, and they did not know how to retreat. Commander Yuna coordinated the defense from her command center. Sector 7 is holding. Sector 12 needs reinforcement. Send the Mordaki destroyers to support. Human ships danced through the chaos, moving faster and more precisely than any Vorax vessel. Their weapons were more advanced. Their shields were stronger. Their pilots were better trained, and they were not fighting for conquest. They were fighting for their home. The battle raged for hours. Ships exploded on both sides. Pilots died in the cold of space. But slowly, inevitably, the Vorax numbers began to thin. Drethvor watched in disbelief as his fleet was torn apart. How is this possible? He growled. They should be crushed by now. His second-in-command had no answer. No one had ever fought the Vorax like this. No one had ever made them bleed so badly. On the eternal dawn, Admiral Teho received a report from Commander Hana. Vorax fleet is down to 800 ships. Our losses are 112. The enemy is breaking. Not yet, Teho said. Press the attack. Don't let them regroup. The Allied fleet surged forward. Human ships led the charge, but they were no longer alone. Venthri carriers launched swarms of fighters. Mordaki destroyers targeted Vorax engines. Ethrani pilots flew missions they never thought possible. The species that had been oppressed by the Council were fighting back. They were standing beside humanity. They were proving that the galaxy could be different. Drethvor's flagship took a direct hit. The bridge shook violently. Alarms screamed warnings of critical damage. Commander, his second-in-command shouted, we must retreat. The fleet is lost. Drethvor stared at his screens, watching his proud fleet die around him. For the first time in his life, he tasted defeat. It was bitter beyond words. Signal all surviving ships, he said quietly. Full retreat. We leave this cursed system. The remaining Vorax vessels turned and fled. They had come with 2,000 ships. They left with less than 400. In the command center on Earth, cheering erupted. Officers hugged each other. Tears of relief flowed freely. They had done it. Against impossible odds, they had won. Admiral Teho allowed himself a small smile. Then he turned to his communication officer. Open a channel to all ships. All species. The channel opened, and Teho spoke to everyone who could hear him. Today, we proved something important. We proved that the old ways are dead. The Council ruled through fear and lies. The Vorax conquered through violence and cruelty. Both have failed. Both have fallen. He paused. gathering his thoughts. Humanity did not want this war. We wanted peace. We wanted friendship. We wanted to be part of a galaxy that worked together, not against each other. The Council denied us that dream. They sold us to killers because they feared what we might become. He looked at the stars through his window. But we are still here. And we have learned something valuable. We have learned that we cannot trust others to protect us. We must protect ourselves. And we must protect each other. To every species listening, humanity offers this promise. We will not become the new council. We will not rule through fear. We will not demand tribute or obedience. Instead, we offer alliance, partnership, a chance to build something better than what came before. The former council ambassadors will face trial for their crimes. The evidence of their tyranny has been shared with the entire galaxy. Let their fate be decided by all of us together, not by humanity alone. And to the Vorax, who are fleeing as I speak, we offer one warning. Return to your space. Stay there. If you threaten any peaceful species ever again, we will come for you. And you have seen what that means. Tejo ended the transmission. Around him, officers worked quietly, dealing with the aftermath of battle. Ships were damaged. Crews were wounded. Much work remained to be done, but the galaxy had changed forever. In the weeks that followed, representatives from over 100 species came to Earth. They came to sign treaties of alliance. They came to establish trade agreements. They came to thank the humans who had freed them from council oppression. A new organization was formed. They called it the Galactic Alliance. And it was nothing like the council. Every member species had an equal voice. Decisions were made through discussion and voting, not through fear and manipulation. Disputes were settled through diplomacy, not violence. Admiral Tejo retired from active service. He spent his final years as an advisor, helping to build the new order he had fought to create. Fleet Commander Hana took over the human military, ensuring Earth was always protected. Lieutenant J1 became the first human ambassador to the Alliance, working to maintain peace between species who had once been enemies. Bo Ra, the spy who had risked everything, was honored as a hero. Her courage had given humanity the warning they needed to survive, and throughout the galaxy, a new story was told. The story of a species that had been dismissed as weak and harmless. A species that had faced extinction and refused to die. A species that had not only survived but had changed everything. The story of humanity. The galaxy had tried to destroy them. Instead, they had made the galaxy better, and that was the most human thing of all.